So I can pick the topic for you, but if any of this sounds interesting, you best pick the topic, because otherwise we're going to be talking politics, and you're going to love it.
Okay, she's got another one.
Holly's like, anything but politics!
But no, the next answer to politics is,
Stand up.
New York recently, like I think about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, did the whole gay marriage thing.
Ah.
Yeah.
And how
Explain.
do we handle that? Like in what ways can we fight that, or is it just like, I know we love the person, hate the sin type things, but like how do we handle this as a country?
How do we handle it as a country?
As Christians.
How do we handle it as Christians? It's a good.
How do we handle it as Christians? Because we can't really speak those countries full of plastic.
Sure we can.
How do you handle it as a Christian? Starts with you. You guys, what do you guys want to say? Anyone?
You have to be willing to do anything first.
Well, speak up.
You have to be willing to start somewhere.
Okay.
You have to be willing to go out and do something.
But like what? Because people think you're mean.
Speak.
Well, okay. People think you're like really mean and judgmental, but really you're just
So
not.
you don't. Don't be mean about it.
Well, no, I mean.
There's no way not to be mean about it. I mean, like, I don't believe in gay marriage. Oh, you're against
Yeah.
gay people? It's like automatic.
No, I'm not against gay people. I'm just
Then why don't
against
you
the
let gay marriage
acts.
happen?
Because I can't stop it.
Do you know how many people are gay?
I know. You're saying.
I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
It's so easy to.
Go.
We're too late for New York, but we can save the others.
How many others have fallen?
And it's not technically too late for New York. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in California, it's been put in as a law, and then it's been removed as a law, and put in as a law, and removed as a law, and it just basically goes back and forth. So it's not like it's the be-all, end-all, because I'm pretty sure they're working on their repeals now.
Well,
So,
what's your take on it, Chris?
About the homosexuality thing, you know, I was reading about that, and like every celebrity commented, it was all like, "Way to go, New York! I love you." I'm like, I'm about to throw up. Love the sinner, not the sin.
Yep.
I guess we need to get some more Christian politics in New York. George Bush, you know, he did an alright job. Against gay marriage, wasn't it?
George Washington.
Yeah, let's just start right there.
Okay.
we were watching a Frankenstein movie, so, you know, it can be done.
All right. What do you think, Rach?
Just kind of a love the sinner, hate the sin.
Well, how do you do that, though?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
You don't.
Well, I have a friend who told me she was lesbian. We were best friends. Out of nowhere, this comes up. We're on the phone. I've moved miles and miles away. She's completely panicked that I'm gonna hate her. She literally said, "Don't hate me, don't hate me." And you just sit there like, I don't hate you. Like, getting that into their brain, it's not easy, but loving them, treating them the same, just not putting the wall up when that stuff is brought up. Let them know that I don't agree with this, but that doesn't mean that you have to close off the friendship.
How many of you guys are, and I know some of you struggle in this area, but how many of you are okay with telling your friends, you know, I'm not okay with you getting wasted, or I'm not okay with you being on drugs? You guys can say that to your friends, right? Why? It's very clear, right? You're like, I mean, to some of you, it's very clear that this is not a healthy thing for them. It's not something that's good for them. And not only that, if you go back into it, you know, God says, don't get drunk, don't get high. It's very clear. It's no different. It really isn't. I mean, our world has decided to make it into something else and saying it's genetic, and there's nothing. They can't find anything that makes it genetic whatsoever. But it's just something they're going to keep throwing out into the media until everybody buys it, which is where we're at. But the thing is that if you can, in love, tell your friend, I want the best for you, I don't want something bad to happen to you, I don't agree with this, but I still love you. That's exactly your attitude. And people can't just treat it as something, some people tend to treat it like it's a disease. instead of treating it just like anything else. And then also having the humility in your presentation of talking to your friend about whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's homosexuality or something else. You need to have humility, because I'm sorry, last time I looked in the mirror, and I think any of us looked in the mirror, we are so not perfect, right? I mean, even if you're a Christian and you've given your life to the Lord and you're doing your best to live for Him, I don't know any one of us that has lived a perfect day yet, and I don't think anybody's ever successfully going to live a perfect day. And so, with every humility, you go to your friends and you're honest. You know, no, I don't agree with this lifestyle, but I love you. We've had multiple people in this youth group that have been gay. We've had some that walked out of homosexuality and come away from it through Christ. So, now are they advertised to the rest of you guys? No. You know, their business doesn't need to be advertised to you. But the thing is that it's absolutely possible through Christ. And every one of them, one of the reasons they came to Christ was because you guys still love them anyways. And so having that love, it's totally possible. And then there's some people that no matter how loving you are, they're going to pick a fight with you. And so all you can do is just be loving, let whatever their comments roll off your back, because you know it's not true. You didn't attack them. You weren't being mean. Just some people are looking for an argument. I'll shut up.
Oh, it was just great.
Love her all. No, well, that's just close to my heart. I was in theater. I've had a lot of friends that were gay, and you know, they all
Yeah,
still talk to me.
I would say that it's very difficult to, if somebody is already convinced that because you're a Christian you're going to automatically judge them, it's going to be very difficult to get to change their mind, no matter what you do. So you need to be able to accept the fact that you can't do anything about that. You just need to love them, right?
Consistent. Be consistent. You know.
But often love is the answer to just about anything. You know, what should you do? You should love them. You know.
It's an easy answer to say. It's not always easy to do, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of people that God throws in our path, and you're like, I want you to love this person. You're like, oh, they drive me nuts, you know. But that's our call. It's to love them.
All right.
Love them, don't leave them.
Does that? I don't know if it answers your question.
Well, it's hard to answer that question.
We didn't solve world peace.
Yeah, well, obviously, because we as citizens, none of us are in the government and stuff. We can't really do much about it, and it's not like we can go out and openly protest without getting
Oh, you could.
Well, you could, but you're I've never heard of any major, unless you're taking it a bad way, protesting against at a funeral, which we're not going to do that because that's wrong.
I've heard groups that do that. I think that's atrocious, personally.
Yeah, it is. It's completely wrong.
I'm not afraid to say that on the web. I think that's atrocious.
Yeah, it's
There's a KFC up Road and Ball.
Yes.
People were protesting a few years ago. It shut down now. I mean, they didn't even know what they were protesting about. It's like chicken abuse. It's a chicken supplier, not KFC themselves, but they didn't know that. And maybe if they actually knew, protests would go a lot more successful.
Well, okay. A local analogy is that there was an abortion clinic around the corner. Okay, and this church participated in protests against that abortion clinic. With a lot of the Christian community as a whole came together in Clarkston and said, we don't want this in our town. And so there were people protesting that place even after they had already left.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's prayer. They did it through prayer, which I thought was really neat. I mean, if you watch, they were just walking up and down praying. And yet, it started off a fury among people, to the point of some people were trying to hit them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember.
On Facebook. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, what isn't Facebook? So.
Wow, you're going to Facebook it, you almost get one? Okay.
Right. So that is something that you can do. You can protest. Do you have to go to New York to protest? Not necessarily. Okay. Yes, Adam.
Well, the hard thing about it is, you can say, don't be an alcoholic. Why? It's going to hurt you. You can't say being gay is going to hurt someone.
Actually, you can.
Actually, the lifestyle can be very damaging. And but that would delve into the details of why the lifestyle is damaging, and I'm sure some of you don't even want to get anywhere near the details.
Let's go for it, shoot.
But
Warning, some appropriate, maybe, some content may be inappropriate for young children.
But quite honestly, like, here's the
Martha.
deal. Anyone that I've walked with who's come out of being gay, it wasn't where we started. Where I started was Jesus Christ and how much he loves us, despite the fact that we are absolutely imperfect. I didn't go at the person and say, well, Jesus says right here that you're an abomination. I hate that part when people do that. And no, I'm sorry, all of us are. All sin is equal in the eyes of God. It's all crud. But the thing is that you have to start with Jesus. You have to start with Jesus' salvation. You have to start with his message, and then you let God do the work. Because you know what? No matter what we argue, it doesn't matter. God's the only one that can do the changing on the inside of the heart. And so, like, different ones, they got saved first and foremost. They got saved, and then we would start. I would meet with them, and we'd start praying. We'd look at different scriptures, and we'd start with stuff like alcohol. And we go through and we look at what God's word said about it, and then I'd say, I'm like, do you see why alcohol can damage your life? And then we'd talk about all the damaging effects. Well, like, I didn't know what I did last night. I could have ended pregnant there, you know what I mean, if we're talking to a girl, obviously. You know, like, all these different things. And so we'd go through everything, we'd take apart getting drunk and see what are all the consequences of this. And then they'd sit there and they'd go, normally by this time, because they're saved, the Holy Spirit's working in their heart, and they'd say, yeah, I really shouldn't do this. Okay? Eventually, what we got to was homosexuality, and then I'd say, pray on this, seek God on it, see what he says. And you know what? After, you know, a few months of going through that with them and praying together and seeking, they were like, they had a moment where they felt like God gave them clarity, and they started to see things differently because they were seeking God's way. So, don't start at that point, you start at Jesus.
And by the way, nobody likes being told they're wrong in general.
Yeah, nobody.
You know, and that's
Especially
one
girls.
of the reasons why Christians think, or people think Christians are so judgmental, because, you know, you're telling somebody how to live, you know, people don't want to be told, they want to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's the fundamental problem with people, that people have with God. It's because they don't want to be told what to do, they want to do whatever they want to do. And God does not abide by that. So, it's a difficult thing to love someone through. Alright?